doesn't it? Hey, now that's more like it.
Does anyone need any seasickness tablets?
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying this. There is one good thing about sitting in here. You don't get to see the outside of it. This is a BMW for non-car enthusiasts.
Selling their souls.
And by calling it an active tourer, you might as well call it the Variety Club Sunshine Coach.
So, while the Active Tourer is functional, reasonably priced and well finished, this is not a BMW that drives like a BMW. Time for the team's final verdict.
A front-wheel drive BMW obviously isn't the BMW for me, but I'll still give it a solid 6.
This is a territory that BMW never needed to go into, and for that reason, I'm giving it a 4.
The BMW 2 Series Active Tourer is not the best car I've ever driven. So I'm either going to call it a 3 or a bottom. I'll let you decide.
We'll call it a 3 then, Johnny, which gives the BMW Tourer a team test score of 13 out of 30. Not all 4x4s are the same. While most manufacturers think size matters, a small minority reckon that good things come in little boxes. Like Fiat. For years, their only proper off-roader has been one of the smallest cars they make, the Panda. And this is their latest version, the Panda Cross. The Cross is their most extreme off-roader to date. It's a fully reworked version of the standard Panda 4x4. And it looks it. On the outside you get big bumpers, protective skid plates and side mouldings.
The Cross comes with larger mud and snow tyres fitted as standard, which give it a slightly increased ride height over the standard 4x4. And all this fancy bodywork front and rear isn't just for show. It allows the Cross to attack steeper angles of incline.
But the biggest differences are under the skin.
2 engines are available, a 80 horsepower 1.3 litre diesel, or this 875cc twin-air petrol engine producing 90 horsepower. It does lack quite a bit in torque, this little twin-cylinder engine. Now, that's something you'd think would be a big drawback, but in fact they've installed quite a low first gear which compensates for that.
And the Cross has another trick up its sleeve: weight.
This little Panda weighs just 1,090 kilograms, which, well, that's not much of a powerhouse, gives it almost the same power to weight ratio as a diesel Range Rover.
But when you're off-road, power means nothing if you don't have good traction. So Fiat have fitted a terrain control system.
Terrain control devices have been available on bigger 4x4s for some years. This is the first time one's been available on a vehicle of this size.
There are 3 settings. Auto is for normal road driving, and provided grip is good, 98% of the engine's power will be sent to the front wheels.
But when faced with conditions like this, you need to be using option 2, off-road.
Now the car's differential locks to engage permanent 4-wheel drive. And the electronic stability control works to brake wheels that are slipping.
Fiat maintain the Cross can tackle gradients of up to 70% and side slopes at 55%. The only trouble is, when you're off-roading, what goes up has to come down.
And that's where setting 3 on the terrain dial comes in: hill descent. This uses the car's electronic stability and ABS systems to maintain a constant speed on downhill sections. It's a completely automated system.
Feet off everything, feet off, hands off. Oh no, you do have to still keep steering.
So, the Panda Cross is good. But how good? In 2005, we put a standard Panda 4x4 up against a mighty Range Rover. It fought like a terrier, but eventually the big dog won. So, 10 years on, can the Cross go one better? Can it possibly keep up with the greatest off-roader ever? The Land Rover Defender.
He's off.
Driving the Defender will be Bob Harris. His company trains 4x4 drivers, so he's a bit useful on the slippery stuff.
I never thought I'd be chasing a Land Rover Defender in a little Fiat. Ooh, don't like look at this. I think I've got a better steering lock than him. I can't go through there. What? 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 Oh. Oh, bit high, Tim, bit high. Oh, I'm bogging down in the middle. Oh, I've hit my radio button. He's now heading into what looks like a bog from hell. Oh, I don't fancy this.
Struggling, she's slowing, I've lost all momentum, it's uphill from here to the finish.
Well, he may be stuck, but we're going to sail by.
The Defender's extra 700 kilos of weight had been its downfall. At nearly £16,000, the Panda Cross is an expensive small car. But as a nimble, go-anywhere off-roader, it's an absolute steal.
Now it's time to visit the Anglesey circuit for one of our famous fifth gear shootouts. The mission is simple. Put two like-minded cars together to discover which is quickest. Today it's these two supercar drop-tops that take quick turning to a new dimension. This is Porsche's most expensive 911, the Turbo S Cabriolet. It can get to 62 in a shade over 3 seconds and tops out at 198 miles per hour. While this is Aston Martin's most expensive Vantage, the V12S Roadster. It's a touch slower off the mark, but for those brave enough, it will exceed 200 miles per hour. Two cars with impressive stats, but which will be fastest around the track? I'll start with the Porsche. Behind me is a 3.8-litre flat-six twin-turbo engine, which Porsche has managed to squeeze 552 brake horsepower out of. Bonkers. Helping put all that power down is a four-wheel drive system and a 7-speed super slick dual-clutch gearbox to make sure I stay slap bang in the middle of the torque curve. Normally a 911 is a bargain supercar, but this particular model is close to Ferrari 458 money. You do get some toys though for your cash. You get four-wheel steering, active roll control and dynamic engine mounts which harden up the faster you go, so it stops the engine from slopping about in the engine bay, which will affect the handling. These soften up to soak up vibrations though when you slow down. There's no doubt that this is a well-engineered car, but it's not all electronic driven. There is room for a driver to really feel what's going on. Turn, 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 turn. Oh, freaking heck. Okay, time for a quick one. There's a fine line that you need to tread to just feed that power in and then rein it back again when you need to. Back on the power, all the way out, now onto the brakes. The brakes feel fantastic, really sensing when this car is at its grip limit, so my senses are alert to it. More alert perhaps than in most other cars, because it has got a big heavy rear end that will swing round and bite me. This tricky long hairpin, a little bit too keen there. And we're coming up to the finishing line now. Oh, keep it on the circuit. Flat out to the line. Ooh-hoo-hoo-hoo. The Porsche crosses the line in 1 minute 27.09 seconds. Now to the Vantage. Unlike Porsche, which has more track-focused machines than the Cabrio I've just driven, this is Aston Martin's most performance-oriented model. In fact, this soft top and hard top Vantage S are the fastest regular production cars the company has ever made. This car's got a little bit more power than the 911. It's got 565 brake horsepower, and that's provided by a normally aspirated engine that's 2.1 litres bigger than the Porsches, and it's got twice as many cylinders. And this car is definitely more rear-end happy than the 911. Oh! The 7-speed gearbox is an automated manual, and compared to Porsche's PDK unit, it is positively Stone Age. It jerks on the way down the box and sort of grabs at the gears on the way up. It is not a smooth operator at all. It is functional though, it does the job. Yes, the Aston feels a bit like an analogue car in a digital age, but it's still fast. Shall we see how fast? Let's go. Into the first corner, turn in. Up we go to third gear, feed in the power, unwind the lock, find a straight line, go, go, go. Onto the brakes, down into second.
At the halfway point, the Aston trails the Porsche by just 1/10 of a second.
Hit one apex, hit the other apex. Keep it nice and tidy. And coming up to cross the line, here we go. Oh, stop the clock.
And by the finish line, the 911's lead has extended slightly to just under 1/4 of a second. The old world Aston has serious grunt, but it's not the soft top to possess if point-to-point time is your main priority.
Join us after the break for the resumption of our Sports Superstar Challenge. And Vicky tests 3 classic cars with a contemporary twist. Welcome back to Fifth Gear and a sports celebrity challenge that hasn't exactly gone to plan. Mark Higgins and I had set out to teach Amy Williams and Samantha Murray a particularly difficult driving skill.
We're going to try and teach you the dark art of drifting a car.
And to add to the pressure, we're going to put a little competition at the end.
But we underestimated their determination to win, and the result was costly.
I thought that might happen.
Oh yes, mate, there's lots of markage. I don't think teacup's going to work, Tiff.
So, after careful consideration, we decided to abandon power sliding and set our pupils a fresh challenge. Our drift queens would now become speed queens. The objective, to find out who could lap Castle Combs track in the quickest time. Going fast requires a very different driving technique to going sideways. So Mark and I are back behind